tracking developments here in Johannesburg at the consulate, which I believe is in the Sandton area. We can see the members of those unions in full effect behind you, Khayelihle, but I can't help but think of the pictures that we're seeing being broadcast around the world of blockage, road blockages that have been put up by the troops under the instruction of President Nicolas Maduro, stopping international aid from coming across the borders to help people that we believe many millions of them are now starving. What are those unions saying to you there?
Well, Marcel, what I can tell you at this point is that the message is categorically clear for the United States of America to back off from the internal affairs of Venezuela. So, and of course, the question that you just asked is a very pertinent question in as far as the aid is concerned. We know Venezuela lately has just been facing a number of challenges, economic backlash, as it were. So a number of challenges, in fact. By joining us now is Amos Monyela, who is a COSATU chair here in Gauteng. So, Mr. Monyela, from your side, what are you trying to convey to the American authorities today?
All what we want to convey to the American authorities is that the democracy in America is equal to democracy in Venezuela, in Cuba, and in any other country. America does not have a right to bully any other country to advance its narrow imperialist agenda. So what they are doing in Venezuela, installing a president, is equal to a coup. And I think they denounce coups, they denounce taking over of government through arms. Even themselves, they must allow democracy to prevail in Venezuela. They must allow Nicolas Maduro, as elected by the people of Venezuela, to govern his country without any pressure from those who want the resources in that country.
And allowing democracy to prevail. We've seen very disturbing visuals where at some point the aid was not allowed to come through. If I remember correctly, it was coming from Colombia and some neighboring countries in Latin America. So as COSATU, what would you say to the administration of President Maduro? Would you say they should give green light and make sure that aid is given to Venezuelans who are desperately facing a very terrible situation?
All what we can say is that any aid that gets into the country, the government of that country must be consulted and be spoken to. So we do not have correct facts in terms of the Colombians. But then all what we can pick up is that that aid was coming without even consultation with government. So therefore it will find hostility. But then COSATU will welcome any aid that will go through the government of Venezuela in order for it to be able to help the people. But then that must not be used to cajole Venezuela in terms of accepting the imperialist agenda of the United States of America.
And just briefly, sir, before I let you go, we know South Africa plays a critical role in as far as the maintenance of peace is concerned. We're part of the UN Security Council. We have a non-permanent seat. Pretoria recognizes Maduro's administration, so we're not recognizing Guaido as the legitimate leader. But do you expect more from South Africa, perhaps, to step in this situation?
No, we expect that South Africa must speak more on this question, as they believe in democracy, as we believe in democracy. They must speak more on this thing. They must mobilize the world. They must mobilize Africa. They must mobilize within the Security Council that let's respect democracy and respect the duly democratic elected president of Venezuela. So South Africa has got a huge role to play in as far as this crisis is concerned, and of which this crisis is not made by the Venezuelan people. It is perpetuated by the Donald Trump administration as a result of the mineral resources of Venezuela. If you can look, Venezuela is not in economic crisis. It is because of the economic blockade by the United States of America to starve the people of Venezuela in order to push Maduro out of government, as well as to collapse the Bolivarian revolution. And South Africa must stand up and defend that thing. Do as other countries did when we were under apartheid. We expect a lot from the Republic of South Africa.
All right, thank you so much indeed. So that's Mr. Monyela, he's COSATU's chair here in Gauteng. So in essence, Marcel, there are lots of placards here. I'm just going to ask my colleague, perhaps Debogo, to try to give you a snapshot of some of the placards that are scattered all over here. Some really saying no to regime change, yes to democracy, sovereignty, and self-determination. But of course, in essence, all of them, they're saying hands off Venezuela. So they won't be allowing the United States of America to support any coup d'etat. And we know at some point, this country located in Latin America, at some point, Marcel, was one of the most richest countries in Latin America, given the fact that they have a number of resources, from the large deposits of oil to, of course, a number of natural resources that they have. And of course, we're still awaiting a response from the U.S. consulate to really give us their perspective, given the picket that is taking place right just outside their precinct.
We'll leave it there for now. Our reporter Kylie Kumalo coming to us live from Sandton, just outside the U.S. consulate, where that protest will continue. Let's move on now.